What's going on, Wholesale to Freedom family? This is your boy Alex Harshman coming at you with another Wholesale to Freedom video on a recent deal I just did. It's my 11th deal. It's pretty crazy. My first year I did 5 wholesales, and this year I'm already at 6. My goal was to get 10 this year, twice as many as last year, and we're definitely on track to do that. So I'm super excited to bring this to you. We just closed today. Officially, we did a dry closing on Friday, but we'll get more into that. So for those who don't know, the Wholesale to Freedom channel, this is all about teaching you how to wholesale real estate and to get to your financial freedom, whatever that may be, or more importantly, to your time freedom. So wholesaling to freedom and whatever that means to you. But again, my name is Alex Harshman. I've done several deals, and without further ado, let's get right into it. So this deal came from a Facebook lead, and my Facebook leads have been extremely profitable. I just went over this with my mastermind. I spent total around $4,300, and it's brought me in around $43,000. So almost 10 times return on investment. And it's just been an extremely valuable tool. It's a little slower than I'd like. What I mean by that is the leads, I probably get one good lead out of $1,000 spent in the entire month. However, that could change, but it's a little bit slow. So maybe I just need to increase my ad spend and see kind of if I can get 2 of those leads per month. And that's my goal. So, and I actually switched back to text messaging as well. But to staying on topic for this deal, came in through Facebook lead. The seller had called us up, let us know that he had rehabbed the property. So this is his motivation. We got to find their motivation, right? So he rehabbed the property and ran out of money. This is huge because I've come across this a lot of times with investors who are sellers and even, realtors. And this guy was a realtor. So he had ran out of money, and he needed to sell it quickly for cash because he was strapped for cash. And of course, coronavirus hit. I mean, he gutted the property, put new plumbing, everything in it. So it's an easy rehab for somebody coming in. I thought this was gonna be a phenomenal deal, and he was already asking a very good price for the property. He was asking $65,000 for it. And so once the lead came to me, my VA filtered the phone call, make sure he was motivated. Once we got his motivation and the price that he wanted, she filtered him to me. I was the purchase manager. From there, I made the offer, but first I asked him, I said, hey, how much are you looking to get? He said $65,000. I said, we can offer around $40,000. I mean, would that be something you consider? And he said, you know what? If you can close quickly, I'll do $47,500. So I said, okay, well, let me talk to my manager and see what we can do. And in the back of my mind, I'm just like, yeah. So it was a really good deal, this one. And so I went to the manager, and I came back and said, hey, I think we can make that work. And we're going to go ahead and move forward with this. So we locked it up under contract, sent it out. First day I sent it out, tons and tons of interest. There was only one little problem, and the seller didn't mention this to me until after we accepted the contract, is the property he had built onto another property. So the property that he had built onto, both his property and the property beside it, went up for tax sale and was bought at the exact same time through a third-party service. What had happened is when you buy through these third parties, you have to accept any kind of, it's not a very good title insurance, which means if there's anything wrong with the property as far as the title chain, if there's any problems with that, or if there's anything like with the land, let's say, for example, there's mineral rights, or there's another property encroaching onto this one, you have to buy and accept the property as is when you buy through this third party. And that's exactly what happened. So he had got the better half of that deal because the person who bought the other property, he'd actually rehabbed and built a master bedroom halfway onto their property. And because they bought it through this third-party service, they had to accept it. But we didn't know all that until, we ran it through the title company. And this title company had worked on this property before, and he had multiple buyers come up to him and try to wholesale this deal. But when they found out the encroachment was an issue, they just gave up and let it go. And this guy's been dropped twice. So he came to us and said, hey, I've done the title work. Here's the evidence I have that shows that whoever's, on this other property has to accept the property as is. And maybe we can make something work. So I said, okay, give me all your documents. I read through it myself. I highlighted where it said that, and I gave it to the title company. And my buyer, even the person who came to me, he had locked this property up twice himself as well with other wholesalers, but both times they couldn't get the encroachment to pass because they didn't have this evidence. But because I asked a single question, hey, do you have any supporting documents that prove what you're saying is true? And he was a realtor, so I had reason to believe he wasn't lying to me. And so he sent that to me. I looked it over. It looked good to me. I sent it to my buyer. He said, man, this looks good. I'm going to send it to the attorneys and see if they will actually do this like you're saying. And if they can, I have no problem moving forward at the price you're asking, which was the $65,000 that I advertised it at. I should have advertised it for more, but this guy had actually said he locked it up for $65,000 before. And so I said, pigs get fed and hogs get slaughtered. And that's why I decided to take it a little bit less. And it would have been nice to have $20,000, but $18,000 sounds just as good to me, in my opinion. And that's exactly what I did. So after weeks and weeks of researching these, it was just a step-by-step process. One attorney said, yeah, they'll cover it. The other one said, I don't know. I'm going to do some more research. So we were kind of back and forth what was going on. I maintained communication with the buyer and the title company and the seller. And because the seller knew what was going on, it really helped the situation because it was taking so long. I said, hey, Mr. Seller, we're just running the title search and see if they'll actually do the title policy on this, because if we go to resell this and we have an issue, obviously this deal doesn't mean anything to us. He said, yeah, I understand, but I already did all the homework and I'm going through it. So I said, okay, I'm going to reach out to the title company and see what they say. I said that to the title company and they came back and said, we've been doing this 30 years. We're going to find out for sure and let you know, and we'll even call the seller on your behalf and let him know what's going on so he doesn't think you're lying. I said, okay, that'd be great, thank you. And they did that. He understood, and then we finally got the go-ahead last week. So we started setting up closing. We set up closing, and we got down to the wire on Friday, and the wire did not go through in time for the deadline. So there's a cutoff time on the weekdays of when you can send a wire. So typically it's like 3 o'clock. Closing was at 3. So when the wire was initiated, it already had passed the deadline for the lender's bank. The title company's bank was open for another hour and a half, but the lender's bank did not send the wire because it was past that cutoff time. And I think there was a miscommunication there or a delay because of all the scams going on right now. So the seller had showed up to closing, the buyer had showed up to closing, everything was peachy, besides the funds being in place. So they signed all the documents and did what was called a dry closing. And it's not allowed in every state, but what the dry closing is, it's basically where you go through the entire process of closing on a property, but there are no funds exchanged. And so what they do that for is typically if the funds have been delayed or anything like that, they get a full 24 hours, business hours, to get that money. Otherwise the sale is null and void for that particular sale. So that's what happened. And sure enough, over the weekend he called me and was worrying. He's like, hey, I thought we had a deal, I thought this was going to go through. And I let him know, hey, this caught me by surprise as well. I know our team's doing everything they can to get this done by Monday. I want to reassure you that we are going to try to get everything done by Monday. Because everything going on, we're just constantly adapting to COVID and all the new regulations, rules that every single bank has. It's different, and that's what's going on. So he kind of understood that. He's being in real estate himself. He's a real estate agent. He's like, yeah, I understand. So, I just wanted to make sure we're still good. And I said, yeah, absolutely. I want to reassure you that. And I know that you had several deals fall through in the past, but I want to let you know we're doing everything we can to get this done. Got the confirmation today. Funds hit my account. And here, we're $18,000 later. He calls me back, says, hey, thank you so much for your business. Or excuse me, thank you so much for your, doing what you did, buying my property. And I said, thank you for your business. If you know anybody, let me know. And even on top of that, I had the realtors, I asked them, I was like, hey, would you be open to working with investors and like showing properties for us because we're out of state? He said, yeah, I'd be interested, because he's a brand new realtor and he wants to get exposure to other investors. So that's what I did. And I have a contact to show properties for me now, and he's going to be motivated. And we've helped him, and so he's going to be more than happy to help us. And I think that's pretty powerful, to utilize every tool in your tool belt for every aspect of the business. And I can't explain how awesome this deal was, because all I did was ask a simple question: do you have any evidence stating that you can buy this property with the encroachment? And because of that, he sent me the documents where these other wholesalers couldn't get the deal done. Here I am picking up the slack, and we got paid for it. So we're all about solving problems, not only for the seller, but for the title company and the buyer. I've solved problems for the title company to get the deal closed. My $20,000 deal, the first deal I ever did virtually. And now this one with the buyer, solving their problems. The buyer is like, man, I'm ready to go, and I've been ready to go, but there's an encroachment issue and I need to get that cleared. How can we do that? I said, let me go to work for you and get that done. And that's exactly what I did. And that's what's going to separate you from the rest of the wholesalers in the area, because they want that quick money. And even though this might be not been the easiest deal, somebody else, listening to this, but to me, I spent maybe an hour, if I'm being generous, an hour and a half of work just to ask simple questions, to make those simple phone calls, and to do some follow-up with the title company. I followed up every single day until I got an answer to give to the seller and the buyer. And sometimes that's what it takes. For somebody, that might seem like a daunting practice, but I'm kidding you. I'm not kidding you. There's like 5-minute phone calls. And I probably made like 10 of them. So an hour and a half of work for $18,000. And I might have gone outside the, what normally people do in wholesaling, but I think wholesaling is whatever it takes to get the deal done. And even that extra half hour, if it was even an extra half hour, was worth it. And it's just important to solve problems, right? You're not going to try to be the one to find out all the answers. You're not going to be the one that says, hey, yeah, the encroachment's allowed, right? No, you're going to let the title company do that. You're putting all these parties together and you're solving all these things. You're just simply the guy who goes out and or a girl who goes out and gets the answers. And that's what makes people valuable, in my opinion. And that's what I've excelled at, is just being the person who doesn't have all the answers, but I will find them. And that's what I tell anybody I meet. And I say, hey, is there anything I can do to help you in your business, both personally or professionally? And if I don't have the answers, I will find them for you through my network. And it's easy. It's easy stuff, guys. Or I should say it's simple. It's not easy. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. It is my 11th deal. I did go out of order. I went from my 3rd deal, I think, video to 11th. We're going to do some Star Wars mojo here where I go out of order, but it's relevant. It's right now. And so I think it was important to share with you in the moment. I mean, it happened today, so I hope you found value out of that. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Also, be sure to subscribe down below. Turn the notification bell on. That way you get notified for all my newest videos. We're going to be producing content like crazy 2-3 times a week. And I'm going to be just blowing up your guys' news feeds on YouTube with valuable information absolutely free. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.